knows a lot about all kinds of stuff. Professor Dave explains.
Earlier in the series, when discussing the 4 factors of production, we introduced the concept of entrepreneurship. This is the act of starting a new business venture which involves taking on financial risk in the hope of making money. Those who take on that financial risk are called entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs create, organize, and operate businesses. Let's talk a bit more about the concept of starting your own business now. The easiest business to create is one where you are the only owner. This is called a sole proprietorship. In a sole proprietorship, the lone entrepreneur earns all the profits and is personally responsible for all of its debt. This type of entrepreneurship is the most common around the world. In the United States, more than 70% of businesses are organized as sole proprietorships. Freelance artists or writers, local landscapers, housekeepers, there are many examples that immediately come to mind. In contrast, a partnership is a business organization owned by 2 or more people who agree on a specific division of responsibilities and profits. Partnerships fall into 3 categories: general partnerships, limited partnerships, and limited liability partnerships. The most common of the 3 is general partnerships, in which all partners share equally in responsibility and each partner has total liability, meaning they are personally responsible for the business's debts and liabilities. Typically, we see these with people in the same business, like doctors, lawyers, accountants, and other professionals who team up. Next are limited partnerships, in which only one partner is required to be a general partner. In other words, only one partner has total personal liability for the business. The remaining partner or partners only contribute money. The third type of partnership, limited liability partnerships, means that all partners are limited partners. Essentially, they function like a general partnership, but all partners have a limited personal liability in certain situations. Limited personal liability means that each partner is not held personally responsible for the business's debts or the actions of the other partners. So why start a partnership? Well, like sole proprietorships, partnerships don't have to worry about much government regulation. Partnerships also benefit from an enhanced ability to raise capital. If more than one person is contributing capital, they can more easily expand the business. It's power in numbers. More partners often means greater ability to borrow funds for expansion, and partnerships can often attract and keep talented employees better than sole proprietorships. Finally, in a partnership, the responsibility for the business is shared, which reduces the stress and burden felt by each person. It should also be noted that the tax implications for partnerships are different from those for sole proprietorships, so entrepreneurs can think about what best fits their business model at different stages of growth. Other than a partnership, another alternative to a sole proprietorship for owning a business is a franchise. A franchise is a semi-independent business that pays fees to a parent company in exchange for the exclusive right to sell a certain product in a given area. A common example is fast food restaurants. The reason you see so many restaurants of certain chains is that individuals are able to open their own franchise, in which they pay the parent company for the rights to open the restaurant, but then operate that location completely on their own. So why start a franchise? First, it comes with a built-in reputation. Consumers may be familiar with the product or brand you're selling, so they may be more likely to offer their patronage, since they already know they like the food that is served there. Second, a franchise receives help from the parent company in getting workers properly trained. Third, most parent companies require franchise owners to follow strict rules to guarantee product quality, which in turn leads to more customers. Fourth, franchises get the help of national or even international advertising programs. Finally, and perhaps most obviously, franchise owners get financial assistance and more buying power from the parent company. With all of that said, there are disadvantages to owning a franchise business. Those aforementioned strict rules can sometimes be difficult to follow. Second, there are often high franchise fees, and parent companies also charge franchise owners a share of their earnings, which we call royalties. Third, franchise owners must often buy their supplies directly from the parent company or approved suppliers, which can increase costs of operation. Finally, franchise business owners often have little freedom to try out new products to appeal to local customers, so there is very little room for alteration. In conclusion, entrepreneurship can involve incurring a very high risk, but the rewards can also be exceptional. At first, it can be difficult to gain momentum and become profitable, especially with limited investment from just one or a few people, but over time, things can change if the business becomes successful. Entrepreneurs are among some of the wealthiest individuals that the world has ever seen. But it's more than wealth. Entrepreneurship also leads to economic growth and, more importantly, innovation. What happens to businesses as they grow? Let's move forward and find out.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Support me on Patreon so I can keep making content. And as always, feel free to email me, ProfessorDaveExplains@gmail.com.